Meanwhile, in Utah, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk is in court as the judge decides whether the case will move forward to trial. Maribel Gonzalez breaks down how day one unfolded.
And you've got markings.
23-year-old Tyler Robinson sat in a Utah courtroom on day one of a 5-day hearing in front of a judge who will determine whether he will stand trial for the murder of Charlie Kirk.
The judge just has to hear legally sufficient evidence of probable cause.
Prosecutors previewed their evidence starting with their first witness, a former Utah Valley University police officer who described the shooting, the aftermath, and his response.
I asked dispatch to get on the camera system and to see if anybody was on top of the Losi building during the time of the incident.
The hearing comes about 10 months after Kirk, the 31-year-old conservative co-founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed as he addressed a crowd of roughly 3,000 people at Utah Valley University in Orem.
People were screaming, standing up, and starting to run in all different directions away from the center of the tent.
The day after the shooting, Robinson surrendered to police.
Certainly they will hear evidence relating to all types of things like ballistic evidence, which links him, that is Mr. Tyler Robinson, the defendant in the case, to the shooting.
Robinson's defense team said it plans to call 3 forensic experts to testify. The Kirk family, including Kirk's parents and his widow, Erica Kirk, attended Monday's hearing. It marks the first time since they were in the same room as Robinson since he was arrested last year. I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.